Hello everyone, thank you for clicking on this reading. So I just wanted to do a quick little intro. I like to do intros on all my videos, but specifically this one is just I feel like I do this a lot, explaining that something I say in the pick a pile portion is like, oh, that's because I posted it on another channel, which that is what this is. I don't think anyone would really notice or care. But I briefly mentioned that this used to be an ASMR channel, and that's just because I posted it on a channel that used to be ASMR, that I turned into a tarot channel, that I turned back into an ASMR channel actually very recently. So that's that. Also, just might as well mention, if you're interested in ASMR, I have an ASMR channel where, because I just decided I want to do both, I should just have them on separate channels. It's called Healing Fairy ASMR, so if you're interested, I think I might link it in the description, but I think if you look it up, it might pop up, but that's just its own. I just wanted to mention that. I use this microphone on that channel, so anyways, let's get started with today's reading that I actually recorded like 8 months ago, but let's get into it. Hello everyone, thank you for clicking on this reading. I guess I already said hello in the intro, but I imagine a lot of people skipped it. I basically just talked about how this used to be an ASMR channel, but if you go to my channel, you'll probably already know that. Anyways, we're gonna do a reading today on what you need to know / hear right now. I'm kind of leaving it to be an open channel from spirit, your soul, whoever, whatever needs to come through. So for pile 1, we're going to be using the Sailor Moon Tarot, and I have this, make sure that's in frame, Skull Panda. I think this is the Rainy Day Skull Panda. She used to have a rain, what is an umbrella that she held, but I don't know where that went. So for pile 2, we have, what is this? The Crystal Struck Tarot with this little gal. She is called Pensiveness, I believe. She usually has also like a little mask that goes over her face, but I also don't know where that is. So for pile 3, we are using the Cats Rule the Earth tarot deck with this Skull Panda, and I believe she's called The Bridge. And she has a little crow. I think that's a crow right there. So take as much time as you need to pick whatever pile. Obviously, you can be drawn to more than one pile or even all of them, as this is a pretty open reading. But yeah, I hope that this is really helpful for you. So we're gonna get started. Hi, pile 1, if you chose this. I don't know where, I just realized I don't know where her rain thing is. Anyways, if you chose the Rainy Day Skull Panda and the Sailor Moon Tarot, this is going to be your reading. So I already have the oracle cards laid out, as well as one tarot card. Basically, we're going to use these cards to get some general info, a main idea, and then we're going to use some tarot cards. I did put one tarot card to get us like a main theme, and then we're going to get into the tarot. So okay, so to start off on this side, we have the card Moonstag with the number 36 and Dreamweaver with a number 49. These cards over here are going to be the Soul's Journey lesson cards. So we have growth, and it says, I want to expand my consciousness and my awareness. And we also have freedom. It says, I possess the power and the free will to create my own happiness. Okay. I just ate, so I also am probably going to be clearing my throat a lot, so bear with me. For the middle card, I want to flip over this one first. And it says, drawing down the moon, knowledge. And for the tarot card, we have the 9 of Swords. I don't think it's fully in frame. That might be good. Let me just check. Okay. So, the first thing that I was getting, because obviously I did pull these cards prior to starting the reading, when the 9 of Swords came out, this was the first card that I pulled. I was getting a vibe, because I associate the 9 of Swords with anxiety, usually depression, feelings of hopelessness. Usually it's sort of a card that comes out when you may be feeling those things, or you may be mentally doubting yourself or dealing with a lot of doubt and fear. But all the other cards that came out were definitely giving the message that something that you need to hear right now is, one, you're much stronger than you believe that you are. And I feel like deep down you know that, especially with this card. This card talks about authority and support. This card and this card are very similar. Also, when Freedom came out, I pulled this card after this one, and it made me think like knowledge is freedom. And this card talks about your own inner knowledge. This card, Dreamweaver, talks about weaving your own dreams, taking action, you know, really. And this Freedom card also talks about, they both talk about how about taking life into your own hands. And I feel like maybe you have a lot of doubts, and right now maybe you don't feel capable of doing that. You may know deep down that that is what you want to do. You have a lot of dreams, you have a lot of goals, desires towards things, but you may not feel, I guess, capable. Yeah, you don't feel capable, or you just have a lot of thoughts. You might be like an overthinker, or you may just be in a phase of your life where you're overthinking more than usual and you don't feel connected. I don't think you feel connected to your inner knowledge. I wasn't sure where I was going to put these cards at first, like how I was going to place them, but I'm glad I put this one in the middle because it very much feels like the main theme. It very much sticks out to me. I feel like one big thing that you need to know right now is something like meditating could be very important for you, or journaling, anything. Meditating is a really big one because that's kind of like universal, but anything that gets you in touch with yourself, because yeah, I do feel like there's so much in store for you, like so much potential, and I honestly feel like you're very close, like on the cusp of like a really big breakthrough. And all it really requires, like honestly, all it really requires is you getting more in touch with yourself, and meditation is a great way to do that. Or whichever way, again, like journaling, that may work for you. I feel like writing or having some form of like just quiet time, it can be just some form of time to yourself every day. Even if you just start at like 30 minutes a day and then go to like an hour a day, any time that you can find in your day that you're kind of idle and not doing anything, I feel like it would be important to not waste that time on TV or your phone. Obviously, you can have those things, but at least carve out a little bit of time for some form of connecting with yourself. And it can literally, if you don't know what to do, it can literally just be sitting there for 5 minutes and just seeing what comes up in your brain. And sometimes you don't realize how much anxiety you're feeling or that you're overthinking until you really sit with yourself. And I feel like also sitting with yourself will give you the opportunity to not only face like the negative, you know, parts of life and what's going on with you and in your mind, but also to really listen to what your soul is telling you and what ideas are trying to come up. Because I feel like there's a lot of doors opening for you in your own mind. I feel like a lot of people may think that like when it comes to manifesting or, you know, opportunities, they hear the word, which makes sense. We hear the word opportunity and we think it has to come from outside of ourselves. But a lot of the time, opportunities can be an idea in your own mind. It can be your own feelings. Those are opportunities. Everything is an opportunity if you look at it as one. And I feel like your brain has a lot to share with you. Not things that are negative, but things that are positive. Yeah, I want to go back to this Nine of Swords card. Because it's going to be different for everyone. But I do think, you know, the intensity of it is going to be different for everyone. But whether it's like a 10 or a 1, like there's an internal struggle here. And it's not like it's not necessarily like a negative thing. I feel like it's a very normal, common thing to have this sort of internal struggle. Oh, wait, I want to fix that. It feels like mostly anxiety. Maybe that's because I associate this card so much with anxiety, but it does sort of feel... I was also at first getting the vibe, especially when this card came out. This can be a very positive card, and it can be about your own authority, but it can also be about external authority. And I feel like this honestly like is just something that could apply to most people in most people's situation, is external authority, or external, it doesn't have to be one authority, but just whoever holds the authority in your mind for what you believe about yourself and about the world. Like, it may be good to ask yourself like where your beliefs come from. What is your authority towards what you believe about what you're capable of and what you believe about the world in general? Like, where do your worries come from? Because those could also come from not you. Like, they could come from social media posts, they could come from anywhere and everywhere around you. There could be a lot of things that you feel like you have to be worried about that you don't, which sounds kind of like, I'm not just saying like don't worry, because obviously anxiety is like a real thing. You can't just say don't worry, but I feel like this is more of like even everyone is going to have struggles, and anxiety is going to be one of those struggles for many people. It's not about not feeling it, but I think that you're much stronger than you give yourself credit for. And a lot of this is honestly like the biggest thing. This is like it's just a very clear message that you have to go within. That is what this is saying, and I think that is that's going to be step 1. Yeah, with growth, it says, you know, I want to expand my consciousness and my awareness. And you do that by going within. And I feel like there is a lot of growth to be had here, and not only like spiritual growth, internal growth, but I think you're going to be able to see your outside world change very much as well. And I want to get more information on that, so I'm gonna move this. I'm just gonna put it right there. Yeah, maybe. And we're gonna get into the tarot. So yeah, I honestly like this message. hoping all the piles are like this. This message is very easy. It's very simple. Very easy to read because it's such a clear message, and it's also such a, like, the word poignant came into my mind, I guess, like poignant message, but because I feel like this is a message that most people need right now. A lot of people, like if not everyone in the world, I feel like, maybe like most people, I don't know, would probably benefit from hearing this. Or sometimes hearing it is not everything. I'm sure that anyone watching this has probably heard this message multiple times, and it's one thing to hear it and it's another thing to put it into practice, which can be hard because you don't always know what resonates for you immediately and how you're going to put certain, you know, things into practice, or have, I guess, discipline, because especially with something like a meditation practice, I'm just going to use that as an example, it can kind of be, having discipline about anything can easily and quickly become stressful, and that is not the intention. You don't want to stress yourself out. I'm going to shuffle this one more time. You know, you don't want to stress yourself out and burn yourself out trying to self-improve. That's not really the point of this. I think the point is that your soul is just calling you home. Basically, your soul is calling you home, and it always is. And I think the biggest message here is that it's normal to struggle. It's normal to have struggles and complicated feelings, and, you know, life is not exactly always a breeze. And we don't want to invalidate that, but it's also, like, yeah, realizing that you're stronger than you think you are, and really, like, putting that into practice, changing your perspective on things if you can, does actually help over time. So, you know, you can't control your external, but you can control your internal, kind of thing, for the most part. Sometimes you can't control your internal, but you can control how you perceive it. So, I'm gonna get some tarot. I'm not taking reversals because I'm still, I don't want to make it too complicated on myself yet. Okay. What else do you need to know right now? Oh gosh, okay. I noticed also earlier some of these cards, not all of them, but some of them were taking, oh, by the way, I took 2 on both sides. I was only trying to take 1. So I feel like there's a lot that your soul has to say, and there's a lot that there's a lot your soul has to say to you. I wasn't really trying to channel anyone specifically, like, this was just supposed to be like, you know, what do you need to hear right now? But I feel like if there's anyone in the spiritual realm trying to talk to you, it's you. It's your higher self. It's your soul. And they have a lot to say to you. And I feel like, I don't know, I'm just noticing that the cards are taking a while to come out. And I feel like there could just be not a block in communication, but I feel like maybe sometimes you don't know which thoughts to listen to as intuition or something else. Or like, you know that you have a lot of ideas and you know that your soul is trying to say a lot of these things to you, but there's a lot of hesitation in, like, receiving the information for whatever reason. So we're gonna see. And also it could be that your soul is trying to be very meticulous and careful and choose their message wisely. Okay, I have the Queen of Cups. This is also a very intuitive card. So definitely confirmation on getting in touch with your intuition. So I'm gonna move that up. Yeah. A lot of resistance. Page of Cups. Yeah, lots of Cups energy, as you can see, which I feel like Cups is kind of the antithesis of Swords energy. So okay, we have Strength. Yeah, what was I saying? You're stronger than you think you are. Yeah, I was getting a strong message of strength. Oh god. Okay. Okay. And we have the Ace of Cups. So I'm not gonna read the back of the deck because I just like to look at it. So yeah, literally all cups plus strength. Let me just make sure this looks good and that my phone is still recording because I know that it is on the brink of not having any more storage. I'm gonna take a drink of water actually. God, there is so much dust. I feel like, or something in my apartment. It always makes me feel Anyways, with the Ace of Cups, I know this isn't the Ten of Cups, but I always think of the Ace of Cups similar to the Ten of Cups in a way, as like emotional fulfillment. The Ten of Cups is more like, you know, you've got everything that you want. You've filled your own cup, and you've kind of, you know, you've reached sort of a happy ending to your story, at least that chapter. The Ace of Cups is also about filling your own cup. Okay, I had to blow my nose. Anyways, the Ace of Cups is similar to the Ten of Cups, but it's more of like, it's filling your own cup, right? But it's more so the first step, like the first time you do that. I feel like this is kind of telling kind of a bit of a story, getting in touch with your intuition. That's what this feels like. This feels like where your soul is like yearning to be, the energy within you. I feel like this energy already exists within you, obviously, if it's your soul's energy. The Page of Cups feels like kind of either where you are right now in your journey of getting in touch with yourself. I feel like honestly you're more in touch with yourself also than you think. I feel like there's honestly just a lot of mental like blockage or something like that that deludes you into thinking you're not intuitive or that you're not this Queen of Cups when you are. This Page of Cups feels more like after you get more in touch with your intuition, this feels kind of like, I always think of like starting some sort of art project. Like that's more specific, but this feels like starting an art project. So maybe that is something that you'll actually do, but it doesn't have to be that. It just feels like the beginning of a creative endeavor, a creative pursuit. This feels very much like starting to get in touch with your intuition, and then this feels very much like once you do that, it kind of leans you more into your creative side and you start to go down a more creative path, or if it's not, you know, it doesn't have to be that dramatic. Again, it could be from like 1 to 10, depending on who's watching. This is either going down a more creative path, like for your life, it could be really dramatic, or it can just be starting to, what's the word, include more creative activities in your daily life. And I feel like even if it's just like the lower side of it, where you're just including things creatively in your daily life, I mean, it could just be even like being more creative, like taking on tasks that aren't necessarily creative and being more creative about them. But either way, and that could eventually later down the line lead you down a more creative path. It could be anything, but I'm feeling kind of creativity. I'm feeling a new like outlook on life, a new sort of, it almost feels like, I don't know why this is the imagery I'm getting, but like a new, God, what is even the word, like a new set of a new level being added to your brain that you didn't have before, which obviously like you already have it, but that's what it feels like. It's something that it feels like you can use more often, and it feels like it replaces this Nine of Swords. You'll have something, you'll have better coping mechanisms, and you'll have something that makes life feel worth it again. I feel like this going within is going to shift your perspective. Like in any, going within will always shift your perspective no matter what. But I feel like you're kind of leveling up. That's kind of what this feels like. And then with strength, that also feels like the next step. You're gonna realize how strong you actually are, because it's one thing for, you know, me to like say it, like, oh, you know, you're stronger than you think you are. And then it's another thing for you to feel that and actually, you know, implement changes into your life that make you feel that. And ultimately that is going to lead to, one, this growth. This is right under the growth card. And this is right under the freedom card. Like, realizing how strong you are is going to set you free, and you're going to grow, and it's going to lead you to naturally feel more deserving of things that you love, and you're going to start to feel, you're going to be happier, honestly. Like, I know that's kind of like a big thing to promise, and again, like, life is full of ebb and flows, but I feel like you're going to, yeah, just feel more in tune with like where it is that you're going, and any anxious or depressed or just difficult moments that you have, I feel like you're gonna find it easier to cope with. And it's okay sometimes to have a day where you have just a complete breakdown. That's normal, but for the most part, I feel like you're going to be leveling up on your path, and this could be opening doors for you that you didn't even know existed. So yeah, I feel like pulling like one more like advice card. I didn't plan for this, but I feel like I should. So I'm actually gonna go get another deck and pull one card from it, and then we will wrap this up. Okay, so we're gonna be pulling a card from another Moonology deck. This is the Manifestation Moonology Oracle cards. So okay, not a very good shuffle. So I'm gonna do one more. Okay. What advice or message can we get for pile one? Open up to change. New moon in Aquarius. Yeah. So I'm gonna read that from the book. But yeah, overall, I wanted to say again, like, your soul definitely wants to talk with you, connect with you. If the idea of like your soul talking to you, if you're like, what does that mean? It's basically, you know, because obviously you're like, well, like you are your soul. So what does that mean? Is it your mind? It's your intuition, you know? I view your higher self as your soul. I view your higher self as, because time isn't linear, it's the you that has already done everything and existed in all timelines and all that jazz. And it's the you that knows better. So yeah, no, but your higher self slash soul wants to talk to you a lot. And I honestly feel like you do honor your soul in a lot of ways already. I just feel like it's calling for you to have a little bit more quiet time and connect more. I feel like, you know, if there's another way to put this message, it's time to dive deeper into your spirituality. Whatever that means for you, it's time to dive deeper into your spirituality in order to grow on the physical plane and in a spiritual way. So, we're going to read from the book. Okay. It says, big changes are forecast, but you need to let events unfold with as little steering as possible from you. Sometimes you just need to take a bit of space from a person or a situation. If you know you've been too emotional about someone or something, this card offers you the chance to cool things down. A rational, even slightly aloof assessment of your current circumstances is called for. Allow for things to develop. Try to think of your situation from a different angle. Okay. Then it has all this other stuff. I'm gonna hold it up to the camera. I don't know if that's upside down. So I'm also going to turn it around. But yeah. I feel like, you know, in general, be open to change. If you are in a situation right now that seems like it's a little bit too much to carry, or it seems kind of overwhelming and you don't know what to do, like this card is saying, just take some time away from it and let it unfold. So yeah, I hope that you liked your reading, and I will probably definitely be making more of these. I actually really enjoy doing tarot, so if you want to see more, then please subscribe, and if not, that's cool. But either way, I hope you enjoyed. So bye. Hi pile 2, if you chose the Crystal Struck Tarot and this gal, then this is going to be your reading. So to start off, I have 3 oracle cards as well as 1 tarot card to see what the main theme of what you need to hear right now is. So let's see. We have Dark Moon. We have Boundaries, Out of Bounds Moon. And then this is the Soul's Journey lesson cards. We have Purpose, I Know What I Am Here to Do. And then for your tarot card, we have 4 of Pentacles. I think that's in frame. It might be cut out a little, but that's okay. I actually, let me see, it was for this one. I wanted to read the Soul's Journey. I wanted to read from the book for this one because I did pull these cards prior to recording, obviously, and I had them set up and I saw them. So, and I was reading the booklet for this one, and I don't know, I felt like it was pretty important and I wanted to read it. So it's pretty short, but it says, Purpose, I know what I am here to do. You have chosen to reincarnate on Earth for one major goal, to express love in all that you do. The obstacles of this physical dimension can distract you from that goal, and it's easy to lose your way. Life on Earth is full of obligations that require your conscious attention, but that doesn't mean you can't infuse all of your decisions with caring and compassion. Your purpose in life is not your career. Rather, your career is guided by your purpose. What activities speak to your soul? What brings you joy? I'm like out of breath, sorry. Anyways, that is the direction your soul is calling you toward to best convey your own unique expression of love and make a contribution to the world. If you are not happy with your current circumstances, then that is your soul telling you that there is a better way to manifest your own distinct gifts. Listen to your intuition. It is your connection to spirit and the voice of your soul. Nice. And also I'm gonna hold it up if you want. And I don't know if that's the right way, so I'm also gonna hold it up this way. So I thought that was pretty significant, and honestly it feels similar to the last pile. I feel like there seems to be a bit of a running theme. The last pile was actually a little bit different. I feel like the similarity lies in getting in touch with yourself. Now that I'm here, I don't actually fully even remember what the last pile was about. Whatever, and I literally just did it like 20 minutes ago. I probably seem like insane, not insane, but like out of breath from reading like a few paragraphs, and I can't remember what I did 20 minutes ago. But I feel like that's honestly just kind of what happens when you're doing something like this and you're just so locked in to this moment. The out of breath thing, I don't know, sometimes I just need to take a deep breath, but I don't want to seem like I'm like sighing or that I don't enjoy doing this, so then I just like hold my breath and then it catches up to me. Anyways, maybe you also feel a little bit like, especially with this boundaries card, it made me think maybe right now you also feel like you're giving a lot of your energy to people or to something else, or just kind of like constricting yourself or trying to make other people comfortable. That made me think of that, just how I'm like trying not to sound like I'm sighing and literally constricting my breath because of it. This dark moon card also talks about, first of all, I like how there's like a dark theme going on, and this card kind of talks about potential. It's the first card in this deck, and it talks about potential, rest, things not happening yet, but they're kind of like dormant and like waiting to happen. They're like, you know, about to take off. It's kind of like lying beneath the ocean, like the sea of possibilities, but it's like right there. Kind of like in this picture, how it's dark, you wouldn't necessarily know if there was a critter, a sea critter lurking below, but it's there, and it'll show itself eventually. And that kind of feels like, because there's also a dark theme here and here, and I guess here, but all of the cards are kind of dark because that's how they're made. But these cards are not, like, these decks are not just all dark cards. So I feel like the fact that all dark came out, there's definitely something, there's some potential brewing. I feel like this might be kind of obvious, but I guess I didn't know like fully what was gonna come out. I was just like, okay, what do they need to hear? But I did use the lesson cards, and I do feel like so far, like the general theme of the readings has been like a sort of a lesson, or kind of like something that is going to help you grow. And I feel like the message that I'm getting right now, just to get straight to the point, with the Four of Pentacles always makes me think of control. Boundaries also kind of talks about boundaries in like multiple different ways. It talks about, you know, not having boundaries with other people, but it also talks about not having boundaries like with yourself, and also crossing other people's boundaries, or even if it's not other people's boundaries, being kind of in an overly emotional state towards a situation or towards a person or things. And because this card makes me think of control, I feel like the general message that I'm getting right now is a message of, I guess, overstepping that energetic boundary of things you want to make happen and trying too hard to control them and make them happen really quickly. If not that, I'm also looking at this purpose card. You may feel disconnected from your purpose, or the purpose in the sense of like what this book was talking about. Like you may feel, I mean, this card is a very like, it says, it's very sure. It says, I know what I'm here to do. And I maybe just in this moment, you may feel like you don't know that. Which who does, right? It's kind of like, but it feels like maybe right now you might be trying to control what your purpose is, thinking that that is going to mold the life that you're looking for or create what you want. And it kind of, okay, I'm gonna take that as like a confirmation, I guess, but also people honk around here all the time. Anyways, it also feels like in doing that, there is a lack of like energetic boundaries. I'm kind of seeing kind of like how, I don't know if you can, if it's like the camera's picking it up, if you can see how there's like these very faint lines. It feels like rather than the energy kind of staying steady in one place, it feels like it's kind of going all over the place. Like rather than slowly going around, it feels like it's kind of going like up and this, and it's kind of, and it's going outside of the lines as well. It feels like in trying to create a purpose based on other people's ideals, or even if it's not other people's ideals, trying to create a purpose or push or control things based on what you think you should be doing or you think it's the right thing to do. It's kind of, I'm hoping this is making sense, but it's kind of pushing your own energetic boundaries in an attempt to do what you think is what other people want you to do, or what society expects of you. It could be because it does feel like all of us sort of have, when we're connected to our soul's purpose, it kind of feels like we have, like, even though we can fluctuate and we can go and kind of mold ourselves into other environments and other energies, there's kind of a more streamlined, I mean, nothing is really linear, but there is a sort of like window, I guess you could call it, of like energy that your soul stays in when you're in your own flow and when you're connected. And there's places that your energy doesn't really want to go because that's not what is aligned with you. And it's kind of, it feels like the boundaries are being pushed outside of that window of what you want. Like what you want is like, what your soul feels aligned with is like right here. What you would naturally want is right there. And then you're like, the energy is like going up here. And it's not like a bad thing. Yeah, it's not like a bad or a shameful thing to be doing that. I feel like a lot of people probably do that, but it is something that might burn you out. And this card is also, the Four of Pentacles is also about stability. So you could, well, I feel like there's a lot of different scenarios for what could be going on. You could be in a stable place right now. If you're not in a stable place, I feel like you're yearning for stability. But in trying to balance stability and purpose and alignment and something that feels good to you, your emotions might feel like they're all over the place, and that's because you're pushing your energetic boundaries outside of what feels true to you. That's it. So with that, I want to get into more tarot to see what else comes out. Let's see. Oh my god. No, please. Please. Okay. Oh. That reminds me, I feel like the cards earlier were having a bit of trouble coming out, but sometimes they would also just like what you just saw. Oh wait, hold on, some of them are flipped over. The messiness of it all, I feel like that's another similarity that this pile has with pile 1, is there's this feeling of feeling constricted and stuck, and I feel like maybe collectively right now, like collective consciousness, I feel like there is kind of a general theme of people feeling like that. I feel like I've been feeling that as well from the collective, and I've been seeing other people talk about it, but there seems to be a collective energy so far of misalignment, but it's like it's not like everyone is like totally misaligned. It's like I feel like lately people are feeling the call of their souls very strongly. I feel like all the souls, maybe not every single one, but a lot of them in this sort of collective consciousness are kind of banding together and screaming at their human. And obviously, if this isn't making sense how I'm describing this, because obviously your soul is in your body, but I do think that our soul / higher self is also kind of existing on another plane of existence that, and it's not like a physical plane, but your soul is ancient wisdom anyways. But if you want to imagine like a physical representation of souls, it feels like all the souls are banding together and really being loud. And I feel like the collective is just kind of in an energy right now where the veil is kind of thin, and it's very easy to listen to that calling, but whenever your own mind or your own current like way of living, style of living is not in alignment and like with this, and your soul is also being really loud about it. There's the Tower, by the way. You can feel very, and the Nine of Pentacles. I feel like kind of getting distracted, but I feel like the Tower is relevant. I feel like, I wonder if this card is going to come out. I don't know. But the Tower is very, I feel like there's kind of a Tower moment going on for the collective. The Nine of Pentacles is a place of comfort. But to get there, if you're not living in alignment with what feels true and your soul is screaming at you, it might feel extra painful, hence the Tower moment, to be in that sort of state. Even if you're connected to and aware of what you want, it makes it even more painful to not be doing that or not be living that way. And with the Nine of Pentacles, I feel like there's a lot of potential with this energy to reach your goals and feel comfortable. So I'm gonna put that, I'm gonna move it right here actually. Yeah, okay. So not pulling any reversals. What information can we get for pile 2? What else do they need to know? Okay, so we have the Five of Cups, the Knight of Pentacles. I feel like also this Five of Cups speaks to literally what I was just saying, dissatisfaction. Oh, okay, well that's turned over. I want to say so far, I am definitely enjoying doing tarot more than I enjoy making ASMR. For the time being, it is much more enjoyable for me. Okay, we have the Eight of Cups. I saw this one flip over earlier and I was hoping that it would come out just because I was feeling that sort of energy as well. Okay, and we have the Seven of Wands. Okay, very nice, very nice. So with the Five of Cups, immediately, I just realized these kind of look like faces on the cups, and it kind of looks like with the water spilling out like it's crying. If that makes sense. I mean, the faces are over here too, but the cups are like breaking. So I feel like your soul, yeah, your soul. And again, like I said this in the first pile, but I wasn't specifically trying to get like a message from your soul, but that's kind of what's coming through. But I'm also sensing some spirit guides as well, working in conjunction, trying to get this message to you. Yeah, honestly, in general, it does just feel like your soul is crying out to you. And I don't want this to be, I don't want you to feel like I don't know like why you would, but I don't want you to feel like your soul is like really sad with you or something. Like it's not. It's a very objective thing. I actually kind of forgot what the Knight of Pentacles is. I want to look that up in the book real quick, so hold on. Okay, yeah, so the Knight of Pentacles is about reliability, someone who's reliable. Eight of Cups, letting go. Seven of Wands, standing up for what you believe in. Five of Cups, disappointment. So with all of that, there's a lot of different energy here, but I also feel like it sort of follows a bit of a story, especially the Seven of Wands being under the Purpose card. I feel like if you can come to a place, I feel like honestly there may be a lot of work to be done here, but if you can come to a place where you feel connected to your purpose, which I feel like your purpose might be, which I don't want to say, especially like my idea of like purpose lately, I've been thinking like nothing is set in stone. And the reason I wanted to read the excerpt from the book is because like your career is not your purpose. I actually want to go back and like yes, your purpose in life is not your career is guided by your purpose. This is not career, and purpose obviously is something that a lot of people, I want to be careful when I'm talking about purpose because we are fluctuating human beings. Purpose is fluctuating. It's not like you have one singular purpose here on earth, but being more connected to your purpose just means being more connected to yourself. I know what I'm here to do isn't one thing, it's just being connected to, sorry if you can hear my cat like licking herself, by the way, it's kind of distracting me. But anyways, purpose is what you feel today and tomorrow and the next day, and those things can be different. It's simply just being connected to those feelings on a daily basis, or as much as you can. And I feel like with the Seven of Wands being under it, there's gonna be more of a boundary that you set with yourself. It can be just energetically as well, just knowing that that is something that you believe in. when you can get close to that and actually fully believe in yourself, and this is kind of redundant, but believe in what you believe in, and defend that. And not that you have to go out and about and like defend it, like people are gonna be like attacking it or anything, but I feel like this is a sort of, you know, card of defense, but more of just feeling secure in it, feeling like you know, feeling like you don't have to question yourself and your purpose, and feeling like you don't have to give up your own boundaries and beliefs for those around you. And with the Four of Pentacles, yeah, I keep looking at this. There is like a sense of stability coming. I feel like right now maybe this feels like the way that things are right now is what what you feel like you have to do in order to be stable. But I also feel like deep down you know that that's not necessarily true. And there's a lot of optimism in this. I don't want to make it sound like there's not, especially with the Dark Moon card and the Purpose card and honestly all of this. You're a very reliable person. And I feel like that is one of your strengths. I also just got a ringing in my ear when I said that. So probably true. You're a very reliable person, and that is definitely one of your strengths, and definitely something that you don't have to let go of, but you can use to embrace this new path and this new version of yourself. You don't have to let go of who you are as a person to embrace something new. You know, you were just going to use those things for something different rather than using your reliability to how do I word this? I guess like rather than using those strengths to serve purposes that don't feel aligned with you or don't make you feel good necessarily, and not in like a hedonistic way feeling good, but just like that don't feel aligned. And like, yeah, you, if you know, you know. Like with this Five of Cups, I also feel like there's definitely a huge awareness here on like a conscious level. If not, it's subconscious, but at the very I do think that there's at least a little bit of conscious awareness, maybe a lot of conscious awareness, that I don't want to say regret. I can't really think of another word right now, but I feel like, you know, the people or the things that maybe you're putting your time into and serving right now, at the end of the day, you do know that it's not something sustainable and it's not something you enjoy, and you do sort of have regret for, because I feel like you do know your own worth and what is worth your time, and I feel like you feel like you're not doing right by yourself. And I feel like there is so much like I said in the beginning about this card, beneath the surface, that it's literally right there, like a new life, new opportunities. There's so many distractions right now. Sorry. Anyways, maybe you also feel distracted. Maybe it's hard to think with all that you have going on. Maybe it is kind of hard to like get, because this card also talks about resting and meditating. This card also kind of says stuff about like accidentally maybe pushing something away that you want by being too overly emotional. I feel like there's just a lot going on. There's a lot going on, and you have the ability to let all that stuff in. Your energy is very malleable, but I do think boundaries are needed, because yeah, at the end of the day, you know that you may be putting energy into things that are making you feel depleted or just not worth your time because they're not aligned with you. And it's okay to, with the Eight of Cups, let those things go. This is like a big confirmation that there are things that need to be walked away from. And I feel like the first step right now could be to walk away. I feel like maybe I was gonna say the resting is the first step, but I honestly feel like a lot of like people who chose this pile may already be in the process of walking away from this, and this is kind of just like a confirmation. And just know that if you have already like walked away from something or someone or a situation, that you made the right choice, and there is something better waiting for you, like it's coming very quickly into your life. I think now is just the time to rest. And if there's any other advice I could give, set energetic boundaries, which is kind of a vague statement, but you don't even have to do like a ritual like of setting energetic boundaries. You can literally just write down what you don't want in your life anymore, what you don't want to tolerate. That's a good starting point, because I feel like that's the big message here, is about setting energetic boundaries. You don't have to like, unless it applies, you don't have to like tell other people what these are. You just don't have to allow certain things in or live in ways that you don't want to live. And this will get you closer to your purpose and to yourself. And obviously, again, purpose is something that changes every day. I want to go back to something that's said at the end, actually. Yeah, if you are not happy with your current circumstances, then that is your soul telling you that there is a better way to manifest your own distinct gifts. Listen to your intuition. It's your connection to spirit and the voice of your soul. So yeah, I would say this has kind of been a little all over the place, but maybe your life feels like that right now. But I would say that the general message to be taken with this is that your gifts are valuable and they should be put into something that you care about. So with that, I'm going to do one more thing. I'm gonna get a card from the Moonology Manifestation deck and just read from the book what comes out. So, what advice for pile 2, or what else do they need to hear? We have full moon in Leo, go wild. So it says, there are times when your best bet in manifesting and in life is to throw all your cards up in the air, so to speak, and see how they fall. As tempting as it might be to try to control a situation, you'll be better off if you just release and go a little wild. You'll get an answer to your question soon, so you might as well enjoy the ride. The unexpected thing is that having fun is one of the most powerful ways of manifesting your desires. Distance yourself from arrogant people. So yeah, I was also feeling for some that there might be a person in your life or people that are negative, or they're a negative influence on your mood and how you feel, and you should listen to that. I also, what is it? Yeah, I was kind of getting that as well, is that with this is that maybe some of you might be trying too hard to control what happened, or maybe not even what happens, but some of you may be trying too hard to control a manifestation, but some may also be trying to, I feel like most of you are probably trying too hard to control a situation that you don't even want to be in, when it would be better to just focus your energy on things that you do want and the happiness from that will naturally flow. So I'm gonna put this if anyone wants to read it. So yeah, thank you for watching. I definitely enjoy doing tarot, so I'm definitely going to be posting more. So if you want more tarot, please do subscribe if you feel like it. So yeah, either way, I hope that this was helpful, and yeah, bye. Hello, pile 3, if you chose the Cats Rule the Earth Tarot and this gal, then welcome to your reading. So we are going to start off. Sorry for, I feel like I sigh a lot. I just kind of lose breath sometimes and I need to take a breath. Anyways, so we're gonna start off with, we have 3 oracle cards. For this set you actually got 2, and then we have a tarot card to see what the main theme of your reading is and what you really need to know right now, and then we're gonna get into the tarot. So to start off, we have Unicorn Moon number 37. We have Void Moon, Do Nothing. And we have Perseverance, I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to. And Acceptance, I am learning to accept the things I cannot change. Then for your tarot card to start with, we have the 8 of Cups. Let's see, so I think, I'm hoping that looks symmetrical and nice to look at. Sorry if the bottom is cut off. Hoping it's not. But anyways, I was very excited for this pile, this reading, as soon as I started, because obviously I pulled these cards before I started the reading, and I don't know, I got a very good energy for this pile, and this card is about letting go. And once that card came out, I honestly got a very good vibe from it, and then this card came out. The Unicorn Moon card is about manifesting, but it's about focusing actually less on the physical action of manifesting and more on the metaphysical stuff you can do, like, you know, if you're into crystals, some sort of magic, meditating, anything like that. I think this card, because this card came out next, this card also talks about, you know, not really doing anything right now, just focusing on like yoga, meditation. Sorry if my voice is shaky, by the way, too. I'm also not used to talking so much, so my voice is a little tired at the moment, but it's okay. Anyways, same thing, same message for this one. But yeah, no, I feel like this pile is in a very, this is very positive, this is very transformative, it feels like, and I kind of feel it's very liberating, and I feel like this pile is honestly already kind of in this mode of like letting go of something, and it could be so many things. You could be walking away from a person, a job, a situation, or you could just be letting go of beliefs. It could be multiple things, to be honest, but when this card initially came out, I am getting this sort of like liberating feeling from it. And with Acceptance here and Perseverance, and also both of these cards are purple, so the crown chakra can be significant. The unicorn also makes me think of the crown chakra. I know in the animal spirit deck, unicorn is like connected to the third eye chakra, and also unicorns, very magical, makes you think of, you know, the higher chakras, third eye, crown, all that. I feel like whatever you're letting go of, it doesn't have to be a belief system, but I feel like walking away from something could literally be opening the doors for you for manifesting something new, or like just kind of, oh, okay. I don't, people are talking outside. I don't know if you can hear that, but they're like yelling. Anyways, whatever it is that, this feels like such a clear energy. It feels like you're very, whoever is watching this is in an energy at the moment where you feel very secure, and it feels very clear. Sometimes I'll think that I'm not a good reader whenever I am not getting a lot, and for the last pile I was kind of struggling, but this energy feels very clear. It's like a very, not that like any pile is better than the other, obviously, it's just different energies, and this energy feels, I can feel the difference in like my body, like how I feel. Like this just feels liberating. I don't know. But anyways, whatever you've walked away from, it could be something big or small. It could be, and even if it's not directly a belief, I feel like it's affecting your beliefs. I feel like you are learning acceptance right now, and I feel like learning acceptance and accepting situations for what they are is what's kind of making it easier to walk away from things that don't serve you. Yeah. Accepting things as they are is a very also like grounding thing to do, which obviously the root chakra is all about grounding, and I feel like people don't always give the root chakra enough credit. When you're talking about your higher chakras, it's very important that you have a balanced root to even begin to open or utilize your, crown chakra and third eye chakra and your intuition as, what's the word I'm looking for? I was gonna say frequently, but as effectively, that's the word I'm looking for. Being grounded helps your intuition as well. And yeah, I feel like practicing acceptance has made it easier to walk away from things that don't serve you. It's made it easy to look reality in the eye and know when something just doesn't feel right. When you actually, because acceptance doesn't have to mean that you condone the situation or someone's behavior, or that you are accepting that as your truth or accepting that as something that you want to do. It's just looking at reality objectively and being like, okay, like that's what that is. That's that. I'm accepting it. And once you do that, it becomes a lot easier to make decisions for yourself and to know what you want and to know where to go. And yeah, especially with this perseverance card, it makes it easier to persevere. And I feel like this is also just like something that maybe, even though you're in this very strong energy, you still need to be reminded that you are a very strong person. This perseverance card talks all about strength. And yeah, knowing that you can do whatever you set your mind to, because I feel like even though you're in this very strong energy, you may still at the end of the day kind of doubt yourself a little bit and be a little hard on yourself. And I feel like that's just something that when you're used to being like that, when you're used to being kind of hard on yourself, it's not a habit that just instantly vanishes, it's something that you have to work through. And so I think that it's very important that you know that you are a really strong person and that you're not doing it wrong. Like, whenever you think that you're strong, you're correct about that. And whenever you feel like your intuition is strong, you are also correct about that. And you can trust your feelings. And I feel like sometimes, even if you've been doing that, it's just nice to hear someone else say that, like, you can trust your feelings. If anything, this can be confirmation. You can trust your feelings, you can trust your intuition. you are on the right path and you are doing the right thing. And this is just a really good energy to be in, and I'm very proud, honestly, of whoever chose this group, because you're in a pretty good energy. And like, you did that, you know, like, you did that, you got yourself there. Let's see. I think I already said this, but yeah, this card talks about kind of going within, and looking at the more magical aspects of manifestation, because I think this card emphasizes that you don't want to miss anything, you know, like if you blink, you'll miss it. And it's easier, at least usually, to see things in your external reality and know, like, hey, like, that is a physical thing, that is my manifestation, whatever. I feel like you've been doing really good, honestly, in the physical reality and handling the physical realm. This is kind of saying, like, go inwards, not as like a you have to go inwards, like this word, you're not, like, not in like a, oh, like, you think you've been doing enough, well, you actually haven't, because you have to go inwards. It's not like that. It's not like that. It's like, you've been doing so good, like, now go inwards. Now it's time to go inwards, you know. Now it's just, here's the next step, you know. You're on a roll, you're on a roll, you're in the flow and you're on a roll, and here's the next step, is to look inwards a little bit. It's like, it's kind of a vague statement, but I feel like I'll get into that a little bit more. I also just noticed that these both have a crescent moon. And this also kind of looks like a crescent moon. I don't know, I'm trying to think. I don't actually know what, I think it was half quarter, I don't know what moon this is, but maybe crescent moons are significant. I also have a crescent moon right here. I think this is quartz. Anyways, maybe that's significant. Maybe the next moon that looks like this might be a very significant time. I also feel like that could be the case. But yeah, it's time to really look at your motivations, I guess, or maybe not your motivations, that too, but really look within, because you're doing so well with your actions right now, that it may be easy to focus more on the external. But I feel like Spirit is really saying, which I feel like this is funny, because just the last two groups specifically, I felt called to say, like, their soul was calling to them and talking to them. And this group, I feel called to say, like, Spirit in general, because I feel like you're very connected to your soul, and your soul is also calling you to go within, but it's less of like a cry and more of like a, hey, let's do it, because your soul already knows that it doesn't have to cry out to you. You're pretty in tune with it, and you've been following its path. But yeah, just a general message from Spirit right now is, you know, focusing, you're doing good, reiterating that, but focusing too much on the outside right now, you might miss something within. You might miss like a little, like, you know, idea or like hit of like something. So I feel like, I don't know, I'm gonna get more into the tarot now, because I want to see what's gonna come out, and like expand more on like going within and all that. But yeah, this is a very, I feel like also like intuitively, just in general, you kind of know this. I feel like your intuition right now is like high. And yeah, if anything, this is just extra confirmation. You're on like a pretty good like kick right now. You've got a good thing going. So, and also with this this do nothing card again, like I feel like maybe with like this good thing that you've got going, you may feel like, okay, what's next, and what's next is resting, you know, Four of Swords energy, just, you know, Hermit energy, kind of going I know I've been saying this so much, but going within, and kind of just, yeah, like I feel like you've, maybe we're in like an Eight of Wands energy, which is very action oriented, and Eight of Cups, this feels like you've walked away from something or very liberated. And by the way, I also want to say, if you haven't walked away from something or left something behind, I feel like you're in the process of doing that. And also, I don't want to scare anyone, but you don't have to, because sometimes people will see something like that, like I'll see something like that and be like, oh my god, does that mean I'm gonna leave something that I don't want to leave? And it's like, if you don't want to, no. But you'll know, like you'll feel it, and it'll be something like where as soon as you started watching this, you'll be like, that's it, like that's what I'm leaving behind. That's what I'm walking away from, that kind of thing. But yeah, no, I feel like now is kind of, especially since this is a Cups card, it's a very emotional card. I feel like right now is a time, it's like, hey, the next step is to meditate, to congratulate yourself on how far you've come, and just take a step back and reflect a little. That's the word I was looking for, reflect. Okay, so I want to get more cards. I'm gonna put that right there. I'm also gonna make sure that my phone is still recording, because I know that I'm really low on storage right now, so let me just check. Okay, we're good. Nice. Okay, so what else does pile 3 needs to know? What other information can we get about this? Oh, okay, so that's two. I'm gonna take them separately. So we have the Queen of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles. Nice. Pentacles also sometimes feel a bit action oriented, but they feel more like, oh, I love this Queen of Pentacles. It feels more like a stable, secure energy. Like you're not taking like a bunch of like immediate action. We're gonna get into it. I also feel like I feel more giggly in this pile. There's just a good energy coming off from this pile. Oh, okay. And we have the Hierophant. And Seven of Cups. I want to get a clarifier for the Seven of Cups, actually. The High Priestess. Oh, okay. I'm gonna drink some water. Okay, so first of all, I feel like honestly, these two cards are giving a little bit more information into what's next for you. Because I feel like with the Seven of Cups, I was getting the vibe of, but with the High Priestess coming out, because the Seven of Cups is like, you know, many options. What do I do? A little bit of confusion. But the High Priestess is a card of clarity, the opposite of Seven of Cups, pretty much. And I feel like you do have a lot of clarity. I feel like there is this question, yeah, that you have of like I was saying, like what do I do next? But I also feel like you're very connected, and you know deep down you're asking what you're doing next, but it feels like there's not like an energy that's like heavy on confusion. It feels like you're asking and expecting an answer from the universe, and maybe this is it, or maybe you get it some other way. But it feels like you're asking just to put it out into the universe, and you know that you're going to get an answer via intuition or some other thing. Especially with the Hierophant. The Hierophant, actually in the book, it actually mentions how it's similar to the High Priestess, but in the opposite form. The High Priestess is getting clarity and information internally, and this is getting it externally. So this emphasis more sorry, I was paying way too much attention to how I said so I'm being a little self-critical right now. Anyways, I do feel like there may be some confusion, but I feel like for the most part, because with the Hierophant, it also emphasizes that when you're going outwards for your information, to question everything. I feel like this card is representing a new outlook on the information that you take from the outside world, because rather than just letting any information in externally, I think you're going to be more, and with the Eight of Pentacles, it kind of confirms this. The Pentacles energy feels a little bit more stabilized and controlled, not in a bad way. It feels like you're going to be more intentional and, what's the word? Not picky. I guess yeah, picky. Discerning with the energy and the information that you take from the outside world and what you learn. But I feel like you have a pretty good idea now, or at least you're gaining a pretty good idea of where you want to go, what direction you want to go, where you want to get your information from, and what you want to learn. With the Queen of Pentacles, this is a very like stable energy, is the best way I can put it. A very comfortable, like she's in her bag, she's like stable, you know, and confident and comfortable. And I feel like this is either the energy that you're currently embodying, or it's the energy that you're moving towards as you let go of this old energy that doesn't align with you or serve you anymore. And I feel like with the Eight of Pentacles, because the Eight of Pentacles does represent like honing in on a craft, and you know, whether or not that you do that immediately, I feel like, especially with all this energy up here, I feel like you're getting more clear on what exactly you want to do, because maybe producing some form of something, I don't want to be too specific, but like maybe what you want next on your path is to figure out what your next career move is going to be, and it's going to be big and it's going to be aligned with you. Or maybe it doesn't have to be your career. I mean, honestly, with the Queen of Pentacles, it does sort of, and with the Hierophant, this could be like this could be you as well. This could be where you want to share, you want to hone in on a craft and share that rather than hiding it and sort of be in this Hierophant energy. I feel like that's the case for a good amount of people who chose this pile. Is you know that your next step is a career move, but it doesn't have to be career. It could just be a very spiritual, you could just be learning, honestly, because there is a big learning vibe with the Hierophant. You know, got the book. We could take this very literally. You could be, and there's more books here, you could be learning about witchcraft and engaging. There's more books here too. I just saw that. Engaging in witchcraft. I don't feel like the Seven of Cups is necessarily a bad thing. I feel like there may be some confusion and overwhelm. I'm like, oh my god, I have so many options. I didn't realize I had so many options available to me, because maybe before you were living in a way where you felt limited, and now that you realize you're completely unlimited by anything, it's almost like an overwhelming, what do I do, what do I pick type of feeling. But I feel like regardless of what you do, obviously there's no right answer, so I don't want to say like this is what you have to do, but I do feel like the next step for you is first to go within and take a rest. And when I say rest, it doesn't even necessarily have to be like, if you don't feel like resting, you don't have to force yourself to rest. And rest isn't like going on TikTok or taking a 10-hour nap. 10 hours, okay, maybe that's you get it. I'm gonna check my phone one more time. I keep getting so nervous that it's gonna stop recording. Anyways, where was I? Yeah, I feel like the next step for you, honestly, is rooted in action sooner than later. Like, it's not like a big rest, but I do feel like rather than being like fast action, like we're doing this, I feel like you're slowly kind of cultivating. The more that you cultivate this trust within yourself and cultivate the energy that you're currently in, or that you're going to be in once you really, you know, lean into your intuition and what your soul is calling you to do, and then where it's leading you. And even if you have to leave things behind, once you leave, if you're feeling like leaving things behind, and it could even be, I was just thinking, it could even be something really small, like you clean out your closet, you know, or, you know, you get rid of something and it kind of catapults other things that you're ready to let go of. Doing that may be scary if you haven't already done that, but it's going to lead you into this energy that feels more you and feels more connected. And it's going to, yeah, catapult this whole like energy of slowly, you're gonna get a lot of ideas. I feel like you don't even have to think about them, they're gonna come naturally. Because honestly, what you need to know right now, like the big message in all of this, is leaving things that don't serve you behind and moving forward with this more confident energy within yourself and stepping into your own power, which is what this card feels like, is going to manifest a whole new world for you. That's pretty much like in general what this is saying, and it's going to be different for everybody. But yeah, to give some examples, I feel like some of y'all are going to be leaning into learning. I feel like the only, oh my god, hold on. Okay, I live near a hospital and a fire department, so there are sirens often. Anyways, hope they're okay. I feel like the only thing that, like, there might be little things here and there, but I feel like the only, you know, problem, I guess, that you may run into is this sort of Seven of Cups, feeling overwhelmed by all the options that you have. And I don't think that's gonna last very long, to be honest, especially since when I clarified this, the High Priestess came out, which major arcana, minor arcana, this kind of overrides that. I feel like this is gonna be a minor energy, but you're going to gain lots of clarity, and you're probably going to be learning from sources that, you know, maybe you hadn't looked at before. I feel like you are going to be expanding your knowledge just in general on things that you're interested in, and things that maybe you were interested in but never really like even scratched the surface of, because you might have been afraid to do that for whatever reason. And I feel like you're leaving that fear behind, and you're really diving into things that interest you and pursuits that interest you. And yeah, that is going to just expand your entire world. And this is really exciting, and I'm happy for you. So I'm going to get, just to end this reading, a little Moonology manifestation card to see if there's anything else Spirit wants to say, any advice. Okay, so for pile 3, do we have any more things to say or any advice? So we have push through any insecurity, first quarter moon in Cancer. So I'm just gonna read from the book. Okay, so drawing this card suggests you may be allowing self-doubt to derail you. Chances are that you started off strong, fast out of the gate and full of bravado, but now you're allowing fears and doubts to cloud your vision. Family issues coming up now need dealing with. Maybe you think you're not good enough or you're waiting for something to go wrong. This isn't the way to get what you want in life. Instead, be kind to yourself and others. Work on your insecurities and head towards your goals. And then if you want to read it, I think it's in frame. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess I didn't really touch a lot on that, but that's like when I saw this perseverance card come out. You know, there may be a little bit of doubt that creeps in, and with the mention of family, this isn't going to resonate for everyone, but some of you may have like family members or just people in your life, and even if they're not in your life, their words or beliefs still kind of echo in your mind, and they may not be very aligned with you and very positive and they may not make you feel very good. And getting through that is always tough, but like this card says, it's, you know, best to deal with it as soon as it comes up rather than pushing it down and just being like, oh, you know, like, it's okay, or like, you know, you don't necessarily have to confront anyone unless that feels like something that you feel called to do, because standing up for what you believe in could be a very powerful thing for you to do, but use discernment, of course. But yeah, I think that even if insecurities come up, overall you're going to be able to work through them because you're just that type of person and you can do that. And it's good to remember, whatever coping mechanisms you've gained, use those. And, you know, obviously, if you need extra help with that, get that if you're able to. I don't want to go too... I could probably do like a whole, like 20 more minutes, if I get into like therapy talk. So I'm gonna leave this here. Overall, you're manifesting really good things. So that's awesome. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that this was helpful. I'm pretty sure I enjoy doing this. I definitely do. I'm gonna be doing more tarot on this channel because I really enjoyed this today. So yeah, if you want to see more, please feel free to subscribe if you want to do that. But if not, I hope you still enjoyed this reading and I hope you have a great rest of your day. So